of the alleged amount that have been misappropriated from 1MDB. So yeah, it is a very big deal. And very often in this kind of circumstances, in this kind of very complex cases, you are faced with the prospects as prosecutors of essentially you try to get the guy or the money first, right? And in this case, I guess they try to get the money first in the sense that the prosecutor side, they were able to recoup up to around 20 to 25% of the alleged amount. Yeah.
And why do you think the Department of Justice has decided to strike this deal with Jolo?
Well, because nowadays money could move around the world very easily, and they could even disappear, as was with the case of 1MDB. So if you don't, for example, lay your hands on these assets, they could be, they could be either transformed into some other assets without you being able to trace them in the future. So might as well do it now when you can still get at them.
Dr. Also, Joe Low has hailed the deal, and he has also pointed out that it is not an admission of guilt or wrongdoing on his part, but we also know that he's still a wanted man both in the US as well as in Malaysia. So what's next?
Well, I think now the focus will be back on the criminal cases, namely the criminal prosecutions against Jolo as well as several others. I think as far as Malaysian public is concerned, I think they're very much looking forward to having a closure, especially on the criminal cases. But unfortunately, the criminal cases, they have not been even commenced yet because, well, people could not find Jolo.
Yeah, so who do you think is the biggest winner out of all this then, this recent development?
Well, of course, perhaps the biggest loser will still be the Malaysian publics because, up to 75% of the alleged amount is still yet to be found. So there's no clear winner in this case. I mean, because the settlement does not exculpate Mr. Jolo. On the other hand, this is only a portion of the alleged amount.
So how do you think this will have any impact or perhaps any development on the ongoing trial of former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak?
Well, these are the related but not directly related sort of cases because Mr. Najib, I think, is being charged with several money laundering charges as well as misappropriation from 1MDB related companies and not 1MDB itself. Whereas these charges, as preferred against Mr. Jolo and so on, they are more directly 1MDB related, and the amount they have been sort of recouped from these cases, they are related more to Mr. Jolo. But of course, again, as I said, people are very much looking forward to bringing closure to this series of cases.
And what do you think is going to happen next for Malaysia with their sort of pursuit of Jolo?
Well, of course, the Malaysian government will try to get this amount of money back from the US authorities. And the US authorities have been very cooperative in these manners. For example, in terms of asking Indonesia to seize the yacht Equanimity, as well as another amount being repatriated to Malaysia and so on. But I think still, all eyes, including the American authorities, the Malaysian authorities, are still on Jolo's whereabouts.
All right, mate. Thanks for your thoughts this evening, Dr. Owie San, Senior Fellow at the Singapore Institute of International Affairs.